Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back. This is a live show. Today I'm here with former Speaker of the House and current Minority Whip of the United States House of Representatives, Mr. Bob T. Custis. Mr. Custis, thank you so much for joining us tonight. It's good to have you.
Thank you for having me. I truly appreciate that.
Of course, and we're more than happy to have you as well, sir. All right, so today we're going to be getting right into it. Getting into recent reports just made by MSNBC moments ago, actually, less than an hour ago. It shows people a part of the Black Panther Party in a group chat associated with the Congressional Black Caucus, as that is the name of the group chat. The president seems to be trying to do some things for your party, so I'm going to go ahead and read off a little bit on what was said. So plans on putting Republicans in the forward party so that they can remove Zenny and Bob from leadership was a direct quote from the president in said group chat. Um, Looking back on the official proof here, looking to find it. There it is. All right. So, what do you have to say to that stuff?
Well, I obviously I met with the president before. I think I met with him on a Monday or whenever it was when myself and other members of Congress attended a meeting with the president. We had to try to sit down and have bipartisanship. And I actually believe that he wanted to work. After hearing this comments and stuff like this, I know his true intentions. His true intentions is to try to ruin his competition. I've watched your breaking news earlier, and you said it is good to have competition. That is always great in the
Yep.
democracy. That's why we shouldn't have a one-sided party. And I'm well aware of this, and I have spoken with those members of the Black Panther Party, and we have had conversations about issues and our plans moving forward. They all understand that what Danny is doing in certain instances are wrong. And we cannot have that. He is trying to manipulate anyone he can in order to stop his competition. Because at the beginning, I knew when we won seats in the House and we won a seat in the Senate, I knew for a fact that Danny was worried and that we were a threat. So this is what happens when people feel threatened. They try to take out that threat. That's human instinct. But
Yep.
here, there has to be checks and balances, and I'm glad those members of the Black Congressional Black Caucus and those members who were talking to a part of the Black Panther Party said that's wrong and did not do that. Because remember, if we look at it, those dates are 12:03. It is
Right.
12 today. It's 12. It's 12:20 34 right now. So today is 12:15. So that's what 12 days ago.
Yep.
And so we know where their integrity lies. They are not pawns of Danny. They are members willing to work for Congress and the American people. And that's what we need more. We need more people who are going to think for themselves and not be puppets to the President of the United States.
Of course, and yeah, we have been seeing quite a bit of that actually. Correct me if I'm wrong. It does happen. It's been happening in both chambers now. The Senate seems to be getting more recent. They've been getting a little bit more stable with their members actually trying to do the right thing. I'm not going to say they're doing a great job, but I feel like the House is really the worrisome part here. If you take the two branches into account, what do you have to say about that?
Um, I've been in this group for almost upcoming a year, and the House has always somewhat been a little issue, but I have never seen it at these lengths. It is very, some members in the House are very toxic,
Hmm.
and other members I have learned who are just here for show, to show that they are with Danny, to show just whatever. But in reality, behind closed doors, with the conversations I have, confidentially, privately,
Hmm.
those conversations are totally different. They are respectful young people. They are people willing to work, but I don't know what is going on in the background. I don't know what
Right.
is being said. But I
Uh,
do know that there are some members who cannot work at all, and their sole purpose is to serve Danny. So,
you have any names here for us, sir?
that can I serve name? Well, we know. I know for a fact. I remember. For example, let's take some of these members from the Black Panther Party that's now formed. For example, OJ and Herschel. I was honestly skeptical about them. use
Right.
they were making comments and whatever. But when you sit down, when you have a conversation with them, they are genuine people willing to work,
Mhm.
and those are the people I want to work with. Even I said it publicly. I respect Hawk, the House Majority Leader, to an extent.
Yep.
I respect him because he's actually now listening. Before he would just say foolishness. Sometimes he does say foolishness here and there, but I can actually have a conversation with him now. Before, when we
Right.
first started, I couldn't have a conversation with him.
Yeah.
And then there are other people like the Speaker of the House who cannot have any work. I don't know if you were or you weren't there. It was a private meeting, but during the meeting with when his congressional leadership, congressional members, and the president, he was just talking over me. He was not really trying to help. He was just looking to.
Oh boy! All right, we have a Mr. Jacob over here. Mr. Jacob. I don't know how he got in here, but we're just gonna. Oh boy. Okay.
Yeah, I was just going to keep going and not say anything about him.
Yeah, yeah. Sorry about that. Just go ahead.
But yeah. So and then like I said, there's people in the House who are unwilling to work. Members like the Speaker who sole purpose is to serve Danny and not the American people. And there are people in the Senate who do the same things. But it is what it is, and it's sad. This shouldn't be politics, but it is what it is.
Right, Mr. Custis. Do you believe that had the House not have been, as me, I'm trying to put this, not have been so corrupt in this Congress, do you believe the president would have enough against him to bring impeachment, even just an impeachment hearing?
Um, but first of all, I believe to an extent, uh, they are members in the executive branch and, of course, in the legislative branch that are corrupt and that they work for Danny. Uh, I do believe there is looks of investigation to certain instances that may lead to the president's conviction or whatever, maybe a certain investigation to him.
Right.
But maybe I believe, and this is the question: I believe if there was no corruption in the House and the Senate, Danny wouldn't have even been talks about impeachment because he would have known that he can't do anything that he wants. There's no accountability, and that's why the founding fathers wrote the Constitution for there to be balance and levels and separate of powers. And there is no separation of powers in the House, in the Senate, in the executive branch because the President of the United States is reaching his hands into the legislative branch. Therefore, he can do whatever he wants. He can say whatever he wants. I was telling my fellow colleagues in the Senate, I remember a time where people who were presidents had dignity. They weren't
Right.
saying foolishness. They were obviously they may have not done the best jobs. Obviously, they may say foolishness behind closed doors. But in public, they acted like a president. They were respectful to an extent, of course.
Of
But
course.
now it's just been very, very chaotic. It's been very just, hey, I'm Danny, I'm the dictator, I have the control. They're not going to impeach me and stuff. And you can see it due to the fact that he said, "Oh, we can expel him. Oh yeah, we can actually expel him." Like, wow, the president of the United States trying to expel members of the House. That is
Right.
an overreach. Same with trying
Of
to
course.
remove myself and Representative Zinni
Yep.
from the House
Yep.
leadership. Come on now, that is ridiculous, and that
Yep.
is overstretching his
Would
powers
you
as president of
support
the United States.
Senator Speed's bill? I don't know if it's been formally introduced. Senator Speed has been proposing a bill. We were going to have a sit down with him, and then we got a whole bunch of other stories we had to cover. Do you believe if the Senate Majority Leader, Mr. Speed, wrote a bill? Oh, no. All right. Do you believe if Mr. Speed were to write a bill, um, it would. Sorry. If he were to write a bill involving not allowing expulsions, what do you have to say about that?
Um, I believe. See, this is a tricky thing. Um, I believe that some members may, at times in the near future or have in the past, deserve expulsion.
Hmm.
I haven't seen that legislation that has been written up, but obviously at this point in time, it's been very, very corrupt, and so people are just abusing that. So maybe we would have to go to extreme lengths and only do punishment. I believe mainly nowadays the only reason why I see a reason for expulsion is inactivity. And I remember when I was speaker, I put up articles to expel some people due to inactivity, and that's I agree with. But I have never seen a member of Congress do anything very radical. Therefore, if they did commit a crime, that would obviously be an impeachable offense, and they would go to jail. So I somewhat agree with the majority leader in the Senate, but I would obviously have to look at the bill again myself. And I do. One of the things I made public was that majority leader speech made was
Mm-hmm.
the barring that should
Right.
have passed, and that was a whole different conversation that I got into. So
Right. Um. All right. Let's see. So, do you ever think that the Republicans could actually infiltrate the Forward Party the way the president wants to think they can?
this is the thing, and this is why I love my colleagues in the House, especially in the Forward Party. It's
Mm-hmm.
because we are not new, especially when you were in the House, and that's the first thing we said. I said we elected people who were former speakers and former presidents.
Yep.
We are not new to this, so we know the games and tricks that they may try to throw at us, and that's why I love, and that's why the American people need to elect leaders and experience. Obviously, this is
Yes.
a game, but the same tactics are used throughout. I've been on this game since I was 12, 2013.
Yeah.
I am now 18 years old.
Yep.
I've been in various USAs, various
Mm-hmm.
UKs. It is all the same style of corruption. They all want to do something. They always want to overreach. Everyone wants to get more power. So therefore, at this point, now with us as our leadership, maybe if we had other people who were freshly, newly elected members of Congress and never were members of Congress, maybe he could infiltrate. But with our leadership, with our brains, with our smarts, there is no way. I have 100% confidence. There is no way that he could try to infiltrate the House, the Forward Party caucus. As anyway,
All right.
there's no way.
Let's go ahead and move on here. Now, the president has recently started coming around to a member of the Forward Party now, Mr. Leader Cave Johnson. What do you have to say about Mr. Johnson? How do you feel about him?
Um, I had conversation. I just recently had a little bit of conversation with him. I'm still talking to him. And this is not only to him. I also reached out to back then when we first elected to a new member of Congress, Representative Donor, and I believe obviously he's a Republican now, and I still want to help him. I believe as leaders in this group in this community with our experience, we need to help the next generation. Of course, willing to work. And I told him, I said, congratulations on your appointment. I said, I told him my background, my experience. He said this is his first ever political position in this group. So
Mm,
I said, I want to help you and I want to guide you the best that I can. Obviously, I cannot tell him what to think. I cannot tell him what to do. I can advise him. But at the
right.
end of the day, he does what he does. Maybe I may be disappointed, but that is. And I'm going to be like, that if he does something that I may not agree with, like, that may have not been the best move. Thank you.
Of
But I'm
course.
not going to be like some people who are extremists. But oh, you did this. You know what? You're getting removed. I'm not going to do that because that's not what we want in our community. We want people to be able to think and not have the fear of being removed from office or being outs.
Of
But I
course.
believe that if Senator Johnson, you said his name was Senator Johnson
Hmm.
Cave, was interested in obviously working with me and wants to talk. I believe he will do an extraordinary job because, again, when you have people who are willing to help these newcomers, great leaders with great intentions like I am, they can succeed. And I
Right.
don't have any doubt in my mind that he would fail unless I believe Danny or other members of his posse try to infiltrate him, which I believe they're already doing because in the
All
back of my
right.
mind,
Mr.
I
Bob,
know,
I hate to cut you off here. We are gonna go ahead and cut to a very short
of course.
intermission here. I'm just gonna give everyone an opportunity to come and get themselves some water or anything that they may need. So, ladies and gentlemen, at this time, we're gonna take a cutscene to our viewers at the window. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, have we have returned with Mr. Custis here. Mr. Custis, welcome back again. Good to have you. Good to have
Of
you.
course, thank you.
All right. Now at this time, Mr. Custis, you said that we are going to go ahead and answer a poll. We did take a poll at the beginning of the live stream and asked the viewers, "Do you believe Congress has been corrupt since the beginning of the term?" And we have every single vote that's voted have said 100% yes. 100% yes. Um, so, all right, let's see.
Yeah, and I'm honestly not surprised. I'm glad this young man in front of me is dancing. He's doing a great job. But
Yeah.
it is what it is, and sadly, it has changed. Uh, Corruption is first and foremost. There's always going to be corruption, even in real life, but to a different degree. I believe this corruption is more a very, very extreme type of corruption.
Right.
Like there is no benefit for the people. Maybe corruption is different. Like I said, there are different types of corruption, in my personal opinion. Like maybe you are doing things that maybe not be ethical, but you're going to help people.
Mhm.
The way that the corruption that I believe the Danny Beck administration is doing, it is utterly just the benefit of him and not the American people. So that's what it is. And when people come to Congress, their intention should be, I'm going to work for the American people. That's my plan. I'm not here to serve the president of the United States. I'm not here to serve the vice president of the United States. I'm here for the people who elected me. And I strongly encourage voters, when you go to the polls, to think that way. Look at those people who are willing to work for you and not for someone else. And that's why there seems to be corruption. People are not being held accountable. People are running wild. And
Right.
who can check them? Who can check
Of
them?
course. Yeah.
So
And
it
that
is what
seems
it
to
is.
be one of the biggest problems in our political climate and in democracy as a whole right now. Another problem that we have, I'm going to go ahead and get into this part. The Supreme Court, so that's supposed to act as a check and balance. Congress and the Supreme Court are supposed to check each other with the executive branch. They're all supposed to check one another, right? The executive branch being the weakest, Congress being
Mhm.
the strongest, with the judicial being kind of in the middle there.
Yep.
The judicial can very well compel the executive branch to basically do whatever, but Congress, when the judicial branch challenges Congress and they rule a way that Congress doesn't like, the way it's been in real life, anyways, is they just listen to it because it's the Supreme Court and stuff happens to
Hmm.
them if they don't do it. Well, in this climate, it seems like Congress can flat out reject whatever the Supreme Court has to say that isn't within their standards. And there's not much anyone can really do about it.
Yes, and of course, obviously, I agree with that statement. The legislative branch is the most important branch. It is elected by the people. It is elected by districts. It is elected by states, and it's elected every 2 years. And I do believe that in this day and age, there's because they have so much power, they can do what they wish.
Hmm.
This is why it's so important to vote for people who are going to serve you and not serve their own interests. It is what it is. Again, it's sad because when you have people who are not willing to better the group, better the community, and will just put toxicity into the community and not help the community, and then make it seem like, oh, they're doing so good. It is sad and it is heartbreaking to see that because people here, they want to have a good time. Actually, we shouldn't have to be stressing. Honestly, it should we should be talking about small things, disagreements in political ideology. We are talking about big things that it's right or wrong answers. It's no in between. You know what I'm saying? It is straight. This is right. This is wrong, and it's a lot of wrong, and no one
Right.
is holding anyone accountable for those wrongs. So it's
Hmm.
sad, and I hope that uh, next election is way better. We gain seats in the House. We actually gain some control and gain some accountability.
Yeah, yeah, I'm hoping the same thing. Let's see here. No, we are not having anyone else in. We're gonna try and get a halftime show here.
Mhm.
Mr. Curtis, let's see. So moving on to leadership, you said that they're actually willing to um, come to the table when it comes to talking in private. Why are they continuing the harsh rhetoric when it comes to the public?
I believe again, it's a show. again, I don't know what happens behind the scenes. I can only assume, and I assume that Danny is yapping in their ears, and that's what I can assume. And he's just dragging them in DMs privately. I don't know what he has over them. At the end of the day, this is a game to extent. I don't know what he got over them, but or maybe it's just that hey, I want to be toxic. That's too. Maybe some people don't take it that seriously and understand that.
Right,
But
right.
um, so it's sad, but
Hmm.
they need to be accountable. I've said this multiple times. I'm not afraid to say what's on my mind, whether it's against my party or for my party, whatever, because everyone needs to be held accountable. And
Right.
that's what we need to do. We need leaders in this community who's going to speak out. And that's why round of applause to Senate Majority Leader Speed
Hmm.
because he is doing the extraordinary. I don't understand how the president and other members of the Republican caucus are trying to uh, bash him,
Oh yeah.
but he is doing the work for the
Yeah, they're
American
asking them
people.
to step down as a majority leader as well. And I can
And
tell you this: Senator Speed's taking a lot of pressure from his own party, not even the opposition. The opposition seems to be respecting him. Um,
exactly.
but
Because again, the opposition, myself, my colleagues, we are here to better the American people. Again, this is not party disagreements. This
right,
is right and wrong disagreements, and people want to be on the right side, but here everyone wants to be on the wrong. So everything that Majority Leader Speed is doing is correct. He is working for the American people. He is putting the American people first, and that's what we need in leaders. And the only reason why they are coming for him, why they're attacking him, is because Senator Speed is a independent thinker. He knows what is best for the American people. He's not going to be controlled, and that's what we need in Congress. We need members of Congress who cannot be easily swayed and easily controlled and manipulated by people. We need leaders, and that's what Senator Speed is.
yeah. Do you think Senator Speed would make a good vice president or president if he were to run in the future?
He would have to accept the position, but I believe he would be uh, great at any. If he continues on this route, he will be great at any position he
Hmm.
wishes to serve, and I would uh, obviously support him. But
Yeah.
we need him in the Senate right now. We need him in Congress,
Yep.
continuing doing the work
Man,
for the American
yeah,
people.
that is true. With so much pressure, though, it's hard to see how he's even willing to still stay. I mean, it's just
And I applaud him for that.
I
That takes
applaud him as
very,
well. It's
very
a
much
lot of
courage. That is
yeah.
courage.
Yep. Yep.
That is much courage. And
No
again,
doubt
at the end
about
of the
man.
day, And at the end of the day, he continues to work for the American people. The American people will reward him in the future
In the
by voting
future.
for
Yep.
him for a next
Hmm.
term. Because again, people don't understand this. And at least in this game, there's no primaries really, like it's only for presidency.
Hmm.
So you don't really have to seek the Republican endorsement or anything
Right.
from them. All you could do is say, I identify as Republican, sure,
Right.
and you'll get voted by the people. Like
Yep.
that is how it is.
Yep.
Now, obviously, if it was different stories, maybe the Republican Party can affect him more. But he continues working for the American people. He will do it. Again, this is not no Liz Cheney real life stuff. This is obviously a game, and he is working for the people. Therefore, he will win. They can say bad things all they want, but at the end of the day, depending on how many people are running, he only needs a certain amount of votes to win. So
Exactly. Yep. That is very true. Now, do you think Danny's gonna run for president again?
it's just not. This is his first term. I thought it was just like his second term already.
From what I have heard, President Beck, it is his second term technically, but the first term wasn't long enough for it to count. So, from what I've heard, I could be wrong. Could be wrong. Assuming he
Hmm.
can run again, though, do you think he stands a chance?
I believe the chance died when the vote was split last presidential election,
Hmm.
and those votes were split so much that if
Right.
all those votes went to one candidate,
Hmm.
Danny would have lost. And I believe he was slowly losing momentum.
Right.
There's only so much someone can take. Your approval
Right.
ratings will eventually start to decline. Maybe not
Yep.
significantly, but they will because you're gonna get too cocky. And again, I believe he's getting too cocky. He thinks he's untouchable. Therefore, if myself and other members of the Black Panther Party, the Forward Party, the Democrats
Hmm.
all come together and put one candidate forth, Danny can be stopped. He can lose
Right.
easily. But Again, he's not Franklin Roosevelt. Therefore, he cannot continue.
Cannot
He
win
cannot continue
four
winning.
terms, right?
He can. I don't believe he can continue winning, and that showed when you can't even receive 50%. He received. I think he received 47%. When you can't even receive 50% in the presidential primaries, that is telling you something.
Yeah.
So.
Now there was another poll taken by another news organization a couple of days ago. This was right after the December 11th protest. We'll get into that in a moment.
Mhm.
Um, but it showed basically a 50-50 split whether or not they thought Danny should be impeached. Obviously, the representation of the people is not being met in Congress. It is a vast majority of people that think he should not be impeached in Congress. Despite people thinking that the president should possibly be impeached, it's very apparent that a majority are not looking to they're not looking to really impeach him within the Congress. Why do you think so many people like it?
What do you? Why do so many people? What?
Why do you think
Oh,
so? Sorry about that. Yeah, why do you
mhm.
think so many people like him?
Like who? Danny?
Yeah.
First and foremost, this could be a few reasons. One, a lot of people just like to see chaos. And maybe they believe Danny's a chaotic person and maybe causes drama, causes uh, whatever. And also, maybe there's people who are loyalty to party, no matter what. They will support him. Again, maybe he has built relationships too. That's another thing. Relationships in Roblox goes a long way. You build them, they'll vote for you. Um, again, I don't know how far this will go. There
Mhm.
was a leaked message of a representative in the House saying that, hey, I'll stick with the Republican Party, but if Danny or Colton or anyone does anything else again, I will leave. So it's by a thread, and I believe again, this is another thing too. They may like Danny because they do not like the other option. That's how it was in the 2020 election.
Right.
I may not like uh, Joe Biden, but I hate the other option, and that's what happens. But it's sad that we're living in this, but honestly I can't wait for the next presidential election. It would be a great time to see.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it too, and we will be bringing you to that. We'll be bringing you to that um, live here on MSNBC when the time does come. At this time, we're going to take another break, and when we come back, ladies and gentlemen, we have a little show for you presented by former Secretary of Homeland Security Jacob Love. He'll be singing 7 Years Old by Lucas Graham as a little bit of a cut time show. So when we come back from the short break, stay tuned. Get ready to hear some singing. Ladies and gentlemen, the time has come. We have performing to you this evening former Secretary of Homeland Security, Mr. Jacob Love.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to be performing 7 Years Old by ours truly, Lucas Graham.
I love this song actually.
Once I was 7 years old, my mama told me, go get yourself some friends or you'll be lonely. Once I was 7 years old. It was a big, big world, so we thought we were bigger. Pushing each other to the limits, we were learning quicker. By 11, smoking herb and drinking burning liquor. Never wished that we were out to make the steady figure. Once I was 11 years old, my daddy told me, go get yourself a wife or you'll be lonely. Once I was 11 years old. I always had that dream like my daddy before me. So I started writing songs, I started writing stories. Something about that glory just always seemed to bore me. Cause only those I really love, they only really know me. Once I was 20 years old, my story got told. And I saw the morning sun when life was lonely. Once I was 20 years old. Yeah. You see my goals, I don't believe in failure. I know the smallest voices, they can make a major. I got my boys with me, I leave those in favor. And if we don't meet before I leave, I hope you see you later. Once I was 20 years old, my story got told. I was writing to everything I saw before me. Once I was 20 years old. I was 20 years old. We'll be 30 years old. Our songs have been sold. And traveled around the world and we'll be rolling. Soon we'll be 30 years old. I'm still learning about life. My women were children for me. So I can sing them all my songs and I can tell them stories. Most of my boys are with me. I'm still out seeking glory. Some I had to leave behind, my brother. I'm still sorry. Soon I'll be 60 years old. My dad was 61. Remember, and life becomes a better one. I made a man so happy when I wrote a letter once. I hope my children come and visit once or twice a month. Soon I'll be 60 years old. Yeah. Think the world is cold. And God has children who can warm me. Soon I'll be 60 years old. Soon I'll be 60 years old. Well, I think the world is cold. And think of the children who can hold me. Soon I'll be 60 years old. Yeah. Once I was 7 years old, my mama told me, go get yourself some friends or you'll be lonely. Once I was 7 years old. Yeah. Once I was 7 years old.
Mr. Jacob Love, give a round of applause for this, man. Very nicely done, good sir. I am very, very impressed. This just
Thank
comes to
you.
show, ladies and gentlemen, people in this group have very special talents. Got to give it up for our lead singer today, Jacob Love, and our backup dancer, Mr. Joel, coming with the splits and the hearty, muscular areas. Ladies and
And,
gentlemen, we're
and,
going to
and
go.
if I
Yes,
may, AJ, before you
sure.
actually cut out,
Uh-huh.
I just like to say, God bless our troops, God bless America, and I hope every single one of you guys enjoyed the show tonight.
Yeah, Mr. Love also
Amen.
serves in the Coast Guard IRL. We are
Yeah,
very proud of this man. He's a very, very successful man. He's got a family. He's investing in investing in stocks. He's a very,
yeah.
very successful man. So
I
give him
try,
a
I
round
try
of
again.
applause, guys. Give him a round of applause. He's
Let me just come out there and shake your hand, sir. That was
yeah,
Um,
very great.
yes.
God bless, God bless.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your service. God bless. Amen.
Honestly, you've done such a great job here tonight. Thank you so much for coming on the
Thank you.
show. Again, good job to your backup over there, your backup dancer staring into the camera. Um,
Yeah.
we will definitely invite you back on. With this being said, folks, we're we're going to go ahead and take a quick intermission. When we come back, Mr. Curtis on more of our political hot button issues. Thank you guys so much. We'll be right back in just one moment. If I can find. There it is. We are back, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the show here. Well, that was quite a good performance, wasn't it? I think that was a very nicely done by Mr. Jacob over there. He did a very phenomenal job. I personally love that song. I've been listening to it since I was about 7 years old. So yeah,
That was a very great song. I loved it.
yes, Lucas Graham's
I thought
a
it was
really
going to
good
be
artist.
like, yeah. I thought it was going to be like memes or something, but it was actually pretty good.
It was pretty good. He did a very good job on that. Yeah, Jacob's been a good buddy of ours. So getting back to these hot button issues, now that we're done with that amazing show. See, moving back onto it, getting some stuff that we're going to be reporting on later that I haven't really brought up. Coming from, let me go ahead and pull it up real quick so I can get it here. By the way, we did reach out to the press secretary on another matter. We will be discussing that matter, probably not tonight. It's for another story. But we're getting reports that a Black Panther Party leader has named himself the chairman of the black people, and that is a quote, devaluing an entire race into a hierarchy. He's also casually dehumiliated someone in the main chat by revoking their human card. It's a phrase I've never heard. They also were blatantly racist, apparently, to someone by revoking their black card, I suppose, if that's even possible, all because they aligned themselves into the GOP. Now, we have more info on it. We are waiting to make a story on it. But from what you're hearing, what all do you think, just in general, about the Black Panther Party? It did come up kind of fast as a party, but what's your stance on it?
I would like to make this very clear. Of course, I am a Ford party member. I'm a member of the party, and I will be running for re-election as a member of the party. The reason why we have decided to caucus with the Black Panther Party was because we believe that they are more aligned with our values to an extent, and that they couldn't be worse to an extent to the GOP, and that says a lot.
Yeah.
Honestly, again, back to what I said earlier, when you have conversations with people offline, these two are respectable young men. Again, maybe they could probably just be trolling or whatever about that. But one thing is, I would obviously, this is my first time hearing those comments. I would obviously have a talk with him. I'm like, hey, you're a leader now. Remember, he is now the minority leader of the House. So maybe now he needs to show more leadership and stuff like that. But obviously, if it gets too outrageous at this point in time, we will have to do something about it. Of course, we have to contain that because we have to be better than the GOP. We cannot show weakness because they will do anything in their power to make us look bad, demonize us, and we can't do that. We have to be stronger than that. We have to be wiser than that. But overall, with that being said, out of those remarks, it shows you how bad, in my personal opinion, the GOP is for us to still caucus with the Black Panther Party after those remarks, instead of caucusing with the GOP party. And until the GOP, everyone, I believe, has ways on improving, but the GOP really needs to prove themselves. So.
It sounds to me like the GOP does, and it sounds to me like the GOP would honestly be a good party just without a couple of the leaders there. From what you've been saying about everyone having kind of a mentality to where they're here to help a little bit. And it just seems like the Speaker of the House, the President, seems like they're just kind of getting in the way of America actually trying to act like America and govern.
Hmm.
Do you
Hmm.
believe that that's the case, that they're kind of the dam in the water, not opening up for any real democracy to flow?
I believe because let me give you a list. These are the people in the House. I haven't been maybe three in the Senate. I really haven't talked to a lot of my colleagues in the Senate, but
Mm-hmm.
before Ethan left, good Senate Republican I worked with.
Mm-hmm.
Minnie Speed is a good Republican I worked with. Uh, I support this President pro tempore of the House of the Senate,
Mm-hmm.
Miss Frida, Senator Frida.
Yep.
I support the Senator Nancy in the
Mm-hmm.
Senate. Those are four people who I can work with in the Senate and actually have a conversation with the Senate. Now these are the people I can work with in the House and have a conversation with the House. I can work with Majority Leader Hawk. I can work with House Member Joshua. Who else is in there? Who there's
Yep.
people. Yeah, I believe those are about it. And everything I just said, they weren't high-ranking leaders in the party. No,
Right.
actually, that's false.
Well.
That's false because Nancy is the vice chair and Frida is the chair. But the
Mm-hmm.
thing is this: you're back to your point is we can work with certain people, but there are people who are making them look bad, and those goes back to the main three. Actually, in my opinion, the main three is the president. It's literally the people in the first three people in line of succession. The first people in the that order: the president, the vice president, and the Speaker of the House.
Right.
Those are the ones who are, like you said, carrying us down, making the party look bad.
Mm-hmm.
Because people who know me, I was a Republican.
Right.
Uh, and then the only reason I became a Democrat way back when was because the Republican Party was bad, and
Right.
that's a lot
Right.
of things. That's why people go to different parties because the
Mm-hmm.
current system isn't working. The current system is corrupt. Like there's a lot of people who cannot be to their true core values and represent that like they do in real life
Mm-hmm.
because of corruption in current parties.
Yep.
So,
And that is very true. And I have personally, I can attest to this. I've personally spoken to the President pro temp of the Senate, Miss Anita. And she does seem like someone you can get along with. She seems like someone not to mess with. She is kind of a shark when it comes to the party. But she's kind of like the rest of us. She's not really, from what I heard when we were talking earlier, she's very chillax on a lot of things. She only gets serious when there's really serious political topics to be discussed. But all in all, she seems like a very chill young woman. And while she may not have the most experience in the Senate, I'm not even going to try
mm-hmm.
and argue that because she doesn't. In my opinion, PPT is not the best position for her. That should go to the
Mm-hmm.
senior most person. That's how I think it should be. That's how it is in real life. For
And I
good
said that
reason.
I said that publicly
Yep.
because like again, that's the thing. We can. That's another thing, and that's another thing in real life too. Is because I respect you, I will tell you the truth,
Right.
and I will not. And of course, I'm not going to tell you in like a disrespectful manner.
Mhm.
I said respectfully, the president pro tempore of the Senate needs to be the most experienced senator, not only the most senior, but the most experienced senator of the majority party.
Right.
Uh, you cannot be like, oh, did I do this? Did I make mistakes? Obviously, everyone will make mistakes, of course, but to an extent, it's kind of a little bit embarrassing. Um, that is that being said, of course, oh, he is tagging me. She is the most senior student in the majority. Yes, Mr. Edwards, but does she have the most experience? I also say experience too, because that's what we need. That's what the
Yeah.
president pro tempore presides over sessions. So
I will
you need
say though that I don't
experience.
know if there is much precedent in having like, for example, in the real world, I don't know how much precedent there is. So like, if you have a senior most member of the Senate that goes in and then they retire and then they come back, you know, got to think about that too. Because a lot of these people, for example, Senator Speed, he's been in the Senate God knows how many
Mm-hmm.
times, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Overall, he definitely has the most combined experience. But if we're talking about concurrently, it would be Anita. There's just some issues that I have personally seen, along with a lot of people that I know. Like I wasn't personally at the Senate session a couple days ago involving Arias and all of them. I heard that it got very heated with all
Mm-hmm.
of them, so I'm not gonna go into
Mm-hmm. It
that
was.
very much unless you would like to talk about it. It's up to you.
Um, I don't really. Again, um, I cannot. I can only defend people of my party to a certain extent. I cannot be their voice, and I don't know what they were going through their head, or I cannot.
Mhm.
Do I? Honestly, this is for every single person in the Senate. I'm not going to say it's just one person because the overall Senate needs some improvement.
Yep.
Same with the House. Again, we had this whole conversation. The entire legislative body needs improvements, but it is what it is. And one thing I do honestly hate, and they again, some people take it as a joke, some people take it seriously. They don't know the mixture or whatever. But so certain people will do certain things, and certain people will be aggressive, and other things. Like I know one thing is I'm very annoyed when they do those Southern accents. It's
Mhm.
stupid, but hey, that tells you how seriously they take the position. So
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and honestly, I will say the vice president actually, too, like, from what I know, like, obviously he's done political stunts. Don't get me wrong. The vice president's done a lot of political stunts along with Danny and Core. And by no means is he a saint. But at the same time, there is a certain respect for Colton because part of me, honestly, respects Colton because of the way he knows how to, well, I don't want to say manipulate, but the way he knows how to conduct. At least he's more knowledgeable in the sense that he understands somewhat proper parliamentary procedure, at least compared to other individuals that preside. But
and
yeah.
that's how you know who the leaders are
hmm
in experience because when you know how to do basic like a roll
Because like,
call. Because
don't get
one
me.
thing I don't know if
Yeah.
you, yeah, I don't know if
Yeah,
you
I've
were at the
seen that.
Senate, but uh, the President pro tempore said we're going to do a roll call vote, and then said all in favor.
Yep. Yep.
God, but it is again. This is a learning experience for people. People should go ahead and learn.
Right, and yeah, no,
And
and
then
that's
I'm not gonna.
completely like that's amazing.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'm super happy that there's this experiment on the Roblox platform in general. Let's just take a moment and look at the overview that this is doing to not only America but to the world. You know, people,
Mhm.
at least in the United States, that aspire to be in these positions one day. I'll give a good example. For example, Mr. Speed, Mr. Mini Speed. Mini Speed has been accepted into the Senate Youth Program (IRL), and he's finding out if he's gotten to Georgetown tomorrow afternoon.
Mhm.
But the Senate Youth Program, there's been some really really cool people that have attended that. It's only for seniors in high school, and you're invited by the majority leader. You go through multiple boards with the Department of Education and with the state. Only two people from every state are selected. They get to meet the president. They get to meet the vice president. I think last year they met the chairman of the Joint Chiefs. They get to go to the Senate floor and actually conduct business and RP it a little bit, kind of like in the U.S. but in real life. Get to
Mhm.
tour areas, and he got accepted as the one of the two from his state to get accepted into that. And so that's a pretty big honor when the majority leader sends you a custom signed letter inviting you to the Senate floor for a week. You know, and it's in March. Um, Mini Speed, all his political ambitions started with Roblox, believe it or not. So it is true. People can aspire to great things in the real world based off of things they
Mhm.
do and learn. Above all else, this is a learning experience for the real world because while people are very short-tempered as children and on the Roblox
Mhm.
platform and the IRL aspect isn't there, there's a good part of this that does come up in the real world. You know, there's a lot of things that come up and a lot of things just kind of mingle their way into the political spectrum here on the platform as they do in real life. It's more
Yeah.
civilized in real life. Somehow that's
And
possible, but
I totally agree with you. And again, I've been in this since I was 12, 20, 30, turning 13. I'm 18
hmm
now. And I've learned a lot. And that's
right.
why I'm taking some of my political things. As you know, I'm running in real life, and I'm
Yep.
only
Yep.
going to be 18. I'm going to be 19 when the election happens. And so,
hmm
I'm young and stuff like that. But the thing is, I've already had some of those maybe people could say House of Cards scenarios. Like it's
Yes.
this is crazy. It's
Yes.
real. I would have never thought this is how it happens in real life. And Roblox it helps you,
right.
and
Yep.
it prepares you because a lot of people say,
It
"Hey,
does
Jalen,"
prepare you. Yep.
yeah, a lot of people are like, "Hey, so it's going to be." They're going to play a game. This is a game. You got to like. I don't tell them about playing a Roblox, but this is what Roblox has prepared you for. And I know in the next 50 years, most of our politicians are going to have some link to Row Nation. It's a
I have
fact.
already made the prediction that in the future in Congress there will be a Roblox caucus. Um, I have made the prediction. I guarantee from all the people with NUSA, OSF, MUSA, DUSA, from all the ones that'll be dead in the future. Yeah, I can almost guarantee it at some point along the way. There's
Yeah.
already people that are in high positions. I know commissioned officers that are playing Roblox. They're milsims, don't get
Yep.
me wrong, but they're there on Roblox itself.
Yep.
It's a
Yeah.
big community, and it's only getting bigger. And
Yeah.
so
And
I'm
you
really
learn so much
excited to
because
see.
they
Yeah, I'm
bring
really
realness.
excited to see where this goes in terms
Like
of.
I learned so much about the when I was in the UK. I believe also
Mhm.
UKs in general are better than USA groups because they're so like
They're more
really more a little
civil.
more serious. And yeah, they are. And I've learned so much. I've learned so much about like the House of Commons and the
Mhm.
government there that I
Yep.
would perfectly be fine going on a flight and running for a member of parliament over there. You
Right.
don't have to be a citizen too. You don't have to
Become
be a
a
citizen to
lord
be prime
by His
minister.
Majesty, right?
You don't
uh,
and you don't have to be a United Kingdom citizen to be the prime minister. So
oh, really? I did not know that actually.
you don't have to be. So hey, who knows?
There you go.
We're
If
gonna go to the
anyone wants to
UK.
go, anyone wants to go run for PM at this point, shoot. They've gone through
Yeah.
more
So
PMs than they have almost anything
monarchy.
else.
Ha.
Yeah, yeah, really. um,
All
yeah,
right. Well,
it's
let's get back
just
into Roblox life.
yeah, right. Get back into Roblox life. Yeah, no, but it is crazy. And then you have other games. You have games like the Political Process and 270 that come out that really help with to
hmm
show you how the Electoral College really works.
Yep.
And you have
And,
TV shows, Madam Secretary, Designated Survivor, obviously House of
yeah.
Cards. You have all of those on there. Most people on Roblox that are into this shit have seen. Pardon my language. They're into this stuff. Have seen those shows. Me personally, I've seen each of those shows at least twice. um, and then you have Scandal. It's another big one. Yeah, but there's all kinds of shows and documentaries and all kinds of stuff to get to
yeah.
learn. Yeah, I would have never really gotten into politics, I'd say, had I not have joined this community. Not just this
Yeah. I
one,
think
but
I.
Roblox communities as a whole. I feel like had I have spent my time on GTA, I'd be wanting to become a drug lord or something. you know.
I,
Um,
I think I've always wanted. I always had the idea ever since I took eighth grade civics that I would want to be a
yeah.
politician to a degree.
Mhm.
But this just kind of solidified it a little bit, gave me
Right.
more interest into it.
Yeah, yeah, most
So,
definitely. And it's nice to go into a community, even if people disagree, it's nice to go into a community where people's ambitions are met equally with other people wanting to do the exact same thing and just have a nice political role play. I think it's a great thing. Um,
yeah, like I would
it would
love to
just
run
be,
again.
yeah, it
Yeah,
would just be nice if people could be a little bit more civil.
yeah,
I
yeah.
think that would
I
be
would
something
love
that,
to. Yeah, I would love to run for president against like someone who played a Roblox. Like, hey, remember we were in the USA? That would be amazing. Imagine
well,
that
yeah,
would
and
be
you look
great.
back to the Barack Obama Tim McCain election. I don't know how much you knew about those candidates, but Barack Obama and McCain were really close friends outside of the debate stage. They were really close together. They had a lot of they disagreed a lot on politics, on political ideology, but they did indeed learn how to get along and learn just to have a mutual respect for one another. So that's
Because
something that
that's
I
real politics and that's real
yeah, that's
respect.
something that I really do respect. It's unfortunate that the only times in American history that Congress, in real life anyway, has really truly came together has been very few times not related to a catastrophic event. For example, like in the recent years, the only times that we've come together since 9/11, well, we did come together during 9/11, but since that, Sandy Hook shooting, people came together. Parkland shooting, people came together in Congress. Some legislation has been met equally. Donald Trump's second impeachment was kind of bipartisan. Um,
AJ, we're gonna start a podcast and we're gonna talk about real life politics.
we should. Yeah, but getting back to Roblox, I mean, I do
Yeah.
wish, even in Roblox, even what we saw on, it's being dubbed, let's talk about this. It's being dubbed Bloody Sunday, the December 11th attacks on democracy as a whole. I'm not going to say they were caused by Danny. There is proof, and I did an interview this morning from the CIA chief operating officer, Mr. Exo, and he confirmed
hmm
that the
Yeah, I saw that.
director went rogue
Yep.
and had his agents kill citizens on U.S. soil. Um, if
Yes,
it were me
and
personally and I were in charge, Congress should investigate that if it were up to me, or but
exactly. And I'm glad. Thank you. You just said what I want to say. And that is what we are planning to do. I don't know if you knew why we were going to the meet with the president, the congressional delegation, because we wanted to start an investigation on this on the day. We wanted to be like a type of January 6th thing, but instead
right.
we weren't really looking into. Obviously, January 6th, they could say they're trying to look at the problem, but I believe they're going more for
Mm,
Trump. But that's a different thing. We're looking at all the stuff that came out, investigating every single thing, and you know
of
what
course.
they say? They say the Republicans say, or not. I wouldn't even say all Republicans because there's bipartisan support on having
Yeah.
this committee. There is
Yep.
bipartisan support,
Yep.
and the thing I would say is the Danny loyalists are afraid. And I told the president at the meeting. I said because he's afraid that my name's going to be brought up. I'm going to be made the bad guy and the
Hmm.
impeachment. Da, da, da. I'm like, Mr. President, if you did nothing wrong, you don't have anything to worry about,
Of
and that's
course.
anyone. Like if
Yeah.
I was president of the United
Yep.
States and they want to do a Congress wants to do an investigation, let it be. Because
Hmm.
by me denying that, I look guilty, and
Right.
I don't agree with that. And again, we have to investigate the CIA's doing, any
Right.
other operatives doing, any other law enforcement. That is the whole purpose of
Hmm.
this committee that we are trying to set up. But there are people who are trying to block it. And why is that? Because they're afraid that they may be charged and they're going to look
Right.
bad. But that's not what we're trying to do. We're
Yep.
trying to get answers for the American people in order for this event never to happen again. And anyone votes against any legislation that is trying to create this select joint committee, then they do not need to be reelected. They need to be held accountable, and they
Right.
need to resign immediately.
Yeah. Yeah, and the
That's
investigation
how strong I
itself.
am
Now,
about
I
it.
have heard, I will say, it is surprising to me that the president wouldn't be willing to cooperate with it because during the said interview, after I spoke to the guy, after we did the interview live on air, as soon as we went off air, I will say, in an effort of transparency, the president, according to him, had no involvement, and he was even willing to show me screenshots of discords that they were in, that to
Mm-hmm.
prove the president innocent on having anything to do with the CIA killing Americans. It just
Mm-hmm.
surprises me if the president has an issue with the investigation. The president should be all for the investigation, in my
Yeah,
opinion.
and there's even he
And
said he told us
I'm
proof that
not
he was
even,
at the
yeah,
public
I'm
proof.
not trying to say that the president did anything wrong. I'm trying to say if the CIA says he did nothing wrong, which is what they're saying, it's their statement. It is what they're saying that he did nothing wrong, then he should have no issue with coming to, want the
Yeah, and
joint investigation.
I totally agree. I have not personally seen Danny do any wrong. I haven't seen him do
Right.
anything wrong
Hmm.
in connection to the December 11th. I've never seen anything he done wrong there. So that's what I'm saying. Like I don't know why he's afraid because I haven't seen any evidence that made him responsible for the December 11th attack. I don't see that.
Hmm.
So I don't understand the problem because again, when everyone came together, almost everyone came together, for example, during 9/11 to investigate that. So why isn't the president on board on this? So I don't know. Maybe if we dig too deep, we may find something we shouldn't have found.
Maybe.
But again, I'm not even worried about that. And that's the thing, because now you're getting that thought in people's heads. When you bring up a topic that people weren't even worried about, now there's maybe we might have to, but that's not the point of this committee. So hopefully it is created in the future, and hopefully we can get answers. But we'll see what happens.
We will see what happens. All right, Mr. Bob, we are almost at the hour mark. We're at 59 minutes and 40 seconds. So, going to go ahead and wrap the show up here, I think.
Of course,
Again,
of
Mr.
course.
Former Speaker and House Minority Whip, Mr. Bob T. Custis. Thank you, sir, for coming on the show. We
Of
very
course,
much
and of
appreciate
course,
it.
have me back anytime you
Yeah, oh
want.
yeah, definitely. We will definitely have you
Be a
back. You're
political
very
commentator or something.
a political commentator. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Most
When I
definitely.
when I finish my term for the American people, I might become a
Mhm.
political commentator and a contributor. All right, it's
More
the
than
hour
welcome.
mark.
Yes, sir. It's hit that hour mark. Mr. Custis, thank you
Thank you,
again.
sir.
We
Have
look
a good
forward
one.
to
I hope to
seeing
be
you
back
again.
soon.
Yes, and thank
All right,
you to the American
of
people
course.
for
Yeah.
continuing to stay with us on MSNBC, continuing to stay up with the facts, knowing the truth here. We'd like to thank you guys again so much for watching this live broadcast with former Speaker Custis. Thank you guys, and good night.
Good night.